One renowned retirement expert and former Goldman Sachs banker is stepping forward and revealing his number one way to beat inflation. It's a way to receive a nearly 10% yield from the government with virtually no risk. Folks who take the 3 simple steps he's sharing right now could receive nearly $1,500 from the US Treasury in as little as a few months. Best of all, it's guaranteed by law, and you could pay 0 taxes on this low-risk investment. Considering how rapidly inflation continues to soar, you don't want to waste any time missing out on the potential profits he believes are in store for this investment. So to get a copy of his new free report with all the details, simply go to beatinflation2022.com. Again, that's beatinflation2022.com for a free copy of his new report.
Hi, this is Daniela Cambone reporting from Ripley's Aquarium here in Toronto during the PDAC, the world's largest mining conference. I'm at the silver reception, joined with one of the stars of the space. Dan Dickson is the CEO of Endeavour. Dan, good to be with you. First time speaking.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for having me. I know there's lots going on behind us, but it's great to be here.
You've been with Endeavour a long time, but first year as CEO, congratulations on that. How has that been?
Thank you. Yeah, I've been with Endeavour for almost 15 years. 14 years I was the CFO, so I was the executive. One of the founders of the company, Brad Cook, moved up to chairman, and I've taken over as CEO. It's been good. A little bit of adjustment early on and change, but ultimately there's a lot of things exciting in the company, so I've really enjoyed the first year.
Absolutely, and here we are after PDAC taking a hiatus for a few years here, the industry reunited. We're at this incredible event, beautiful venue. How do you feel about the space right now, health of the sector?
Yeah, we're in really interesting times. I mean, obviously with what's happening from an interest rate standpoint and what we're seeing in inflation, we're coming to kind of a point where we're going to decide, are we going into a recession and inflation's going to continue or see stagflation? And I mean, we've had a nice run for the last few years in the space, and we've taken a little bit of pause. I mean, it was a tough day in the markets for the silver today, and then ultimately for the last 6 weeks, as I say, but I think come the fall we're going to see that pick up again, and ultimately the story and everything's going to move in our space again.
Well, I'm happy you brought that up because I'd love to get your forecast on it, because there is a lot of talk about recession, a lot of debate going around. People are saying we're already in a recession or the Fed is about to trigger a recession. Where are we at in the spectrum?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think we're already there. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We live in a world of cycles, so they're going to happen. It's not like we can avoid it. We've always been kicking it down the road, or kicking the can down the road from a interest rate standpoint of giving money supply, and right now we've got to tighten it, and ultimately that's going to put us in a recession, which I think's already happened. The data always comes out after the fact, and just talking to different groups that I always seem to, I think we're there, and ultimately it'll come through in the data here in the coming months.
And I guess it's just your perception of a recession. You know, we hear recession and we're like, oh no, recession, but could it be a healthy?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Ultimately, the world that we live in is cycles. It ebbs and flows, and ultimately you've got to have contraction. It makes companies stronger, creates opportunities. I always say, especially in the silver space or the gold space or in the mining space, when prices dip is the time you can actually make money. And you make investments at these times, it's going to come to fruition when everything comes roaring back. And ultimately, that's when we build our companies, is now.
Yep.
So I see this as an opportunity.
Dan, when we were speaking offline, I asked you, I said, are you one of those cheerleaders of the silver space that is calling for triple-digit silver? You said, absolutely not, with a smile on your face. Talk to me about that.
I'm an accountant by trade.
Nice.
I'm an accountant, so I'm conservative. Right. I believe in kind of the numbers, and ultimately one day it can get there, but when's one day? Everyone wants to put a number out there, but nobody wants to put that time on there. I think we're going to be higher. I think we're going to get to higher prices, and we're going to break the $50 time at one point. But I don't see triple digits in the near future, but one day we'll get there. I'm just not one to always put a number out there and do it. We have strategic thoughts of how we're going to invest, but it's not that high at this point.
So let me ask you this. I think, with all this talk about moving to a greener focus, there's so much, placed on, well, you need silver for this.
Yep.
But when are we going to start seeing that reflected in the price? I think that's where investors get frustrated because we need silver, right?
Yeah, and it's very true. I mean, silver's industrial component has just expanded exponentially over the last 6-7 years, and ultimately that's from the greenification that we're seeing. And the monetary aspect of silver and the monetary aspect that we see is probably a larger story at this point, and that's why we've seen a pullback in the price. So I think as we come through over the next 3-4 years, I think that is going to come into play when we start seeing more EVs, start moving to more solar, start moving to more wind turbines. I think that's going to come through at that point. So in the next couple of years, it's going to be part of it.
So overall, I guess, what would you like to see happen in this space? I think that miners, would you not agree, have learned a lot of lessons. They've cleaned up a lot of their acts. We're seeing, companies paying dividends, a lot more companies paying dividends now. They've cleaned up their balance sheets. What other lessons need to be learned for the mining industry as a whole, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just our industry. Every industry, you're going through cycles of lessons, and I think things get forgotten in the past, and new generations come through and be no different. And there'll be a lesson that I learned, I'm sure, one day. I think as mining companies, you're right, our balance sheets are in great shape, and cash flow is important. And building companies that are long-term sustainable from a cash flow standpoint rather than just building ounces, it's building cash flow. And that's what we're trying to do at Endeavour, is put together assets that provide meaningful cash flow for a long period of time that really make us a business compared to any other industry, not just the mining industry.
Dan Dickson, I know you have a lot of people to speak to here tonight. Enjoy the night. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, no, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. We'll have much more coverage coming your way here from the incredible Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto. So be sure to stay tuned to Stansberry Research. Thanks for watching.
Opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the contributor and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Stansberry Research, its parent company, or affiliates.